valuation of the XYZ pension scheme on the 5th of the 4th, 2010. I'm Ryan, this is Aaron. The purpose of this valuation is to enable the trustee to see the level of asset funding relative to the value of the pension scheme and to observe the resulting surplus or deficit. This report will also use the calculated data to make comments about the solvency position of the scheme and the portfolio of the scheme's assets, allowing the trustee to help decide the appropriate future contribution policy for the scheme. The valuation was carried out using SuperVal pension software, which had been verified using Microsoft Excel and manual checks.
Assumptions. In order to carry out the valuation using SuperVal, a certain set of assumptions have to be chosen. These are interest rate, inflation, mortality pre-retirement non-pensioners, mortality post-retirement non-pensioners, mortality post-retirement pensions, proportion of members married and salary averaging period. Later on in the sensitivity analysis section, we will discuss how to use the assumptions to give effects on liabilities. Interest. Interest rates were assumed to be 7% for pre-retirement and 5.5% post-retirement. We looked at the past figures for interest rates and found that they averaged out at roughly 7% for pre-retirement. We then estimated our post-retirement rate by looking at the Bank of England's bank rate in June 1987. Over this period, we found the bank rate averaged out at approximately 4%. We also looked at long-term UK gilt rates to help us make our post-retirement assumption. However, UK gilt rates are assumed to be risk-free, and in reality, market interest rates have a risk premium. We decided to apply a risk premium of 1.5% on our base rate, arriving at a rate of 5.5%.
Omar.
Inflation.
Omar.
Our inflation assumption
Close
is
window.
based on historic RPA figures. Averaging out the data from April 1985 to April 2010, we have assumed the long-term RPA to be 3.5%. The salary growth. Salary growth is linked to the level of inflation. We can therefore assume that salary growth will be 4.5 in the future.
Mortality pre-retirement non-pensioners. We have chosen to use the PMA 92 base mortality table. However, due to improvements in living conditions and healthcare, life expectancy has increased. As all people are expected to live longer, we've applied a rating of -3 to these tables. Mortality post-retirement non-pensioners. Again, we use the PMA 92 base mortality tables. Furthermore, due to the aforementioned improvements in healthcare and living conditions, we've also applied a rating of -3 to these tables.
Mortality post-retirement pensioners. Again, we chose to use the PMA 92, PFA 92 base mortality tables for pensioners. We believe that the improvements in healthcare will affect life expectancy of this group, but not as significantly as the previous. Therefore, we applied a rating of -1. Proportion of members married. For our valuation, we have assumed the proportion of male members married to be 80% and 70% for females. We also assumed wives to be 3 years younger than their spouses. Salary averaging period. We have assumed that salaries are averaged over 1 year. We also assumed CPA to be 0.5% lower than RPA, obtaining this result from looking at past figures.
Data summary. The data we have been assigned to work with contains 968 members. They are assigned into one of 3 groups: actives, who are those currently employed by the company; deferred, who are those who are no longer employed by the company but still stand to receive a pension; and pensioners. All members are then broken into one of 5 categories, each with a different pre-97 and post-97 pension increase. Depending when the member began his or her pension scheme will dictate which increase they will receive. The table below summarises the different categories and the pension increases they will receive.
Pensions increase. All members are then broken into one of 5 categories, each with a pre-97 and post-97 pension increase. Depending when the member began his or her pension scheme, this will dictate which increase they will receive, and this is summarised by a table below.
Actives. The following graph shows the proportions of males and females that fall under actives. Category 2 contains the largest number of members. Following that, there are fewer members that fall into the higher increasing pensions categories.
Deferreds. The following graph shows the proportions of males and females that fall under deferreds. And as with actives, most of the members fall within category 2.
Pensioners. The following graph shows the proportions of males and females that fall under pensioners. Pensioners do not follow the same trend. There is an even spread of data spanning all 5 categories.
Liabilities. As it stands, the funding level for the scheme is sitting at 76.6%. Over the next 10 years, we hope deficit and eventually increase our funding level to 100%. In order to do this, the employer would have to make contributions of around $2,050,000 per year, assuming an interest rate of 5.5%. We also hope to reduce the funding level by improving the firm's liabilities by making changes to the payment structure of our scheme. For example, changing the accrual rate to 80 or value pension increases of CPA instead of RPA would all see significant drops in the liabilities of the scheme. An alternative suggestion would be for the trustee over the next 10 years to increase contributions to the pension scheme.
Asset summary. At the moment, the scheme holds $75 million in assets, which is invested exclusively in equities. The trustee has decided to invest wholly in equities as they are proven to have a higher return than other financial instruments like gilts or bonds. Equities traded in the market also have greater liquidity than other securities. This means that it can be easily converted into cash by selling the equities with other traders in the market. Although equities prices over long periods of time generally follow an upward trend, and they have the advantage of being highly liquid, we feel investing exclusively in equities is an unwise investment strategy. With a greater return shares offer goes a far higher risk element. Equities, especially in the already volatile economic climate, are prone to large fluctuations in price. With a scheme invested only in equities, we believe it leaves the scheme too vulnerable in dips in the market and may leave us in a situation where we won't be able to meet our commitments to those who participate in our pension scheme.
Asset allocation. That is why we have suggested a new structure to our XYZ portfolio in order to reduce the risk to the pension scheme while still offering a high enough return to meet new liabilities taken on. Our asset allocation will comprise of around 40% in UK government gilts, 60% in equities. Within the 60% invested in equities, 20% should be invested in corporate bonds and the remaining 40% invested in shares of companies in high return industries such as biotechnology, mining and the smartphone and PDA markets.
Gilts. We choose 40% in gilts as the UK government has never failed on paying out the coupon on its maturity. Gilts are therefore considered risk-free and will lower the unsystematic risk associated with our portfolio.
Corporate bonds. We decided on 20% in corporate bonds. Corporate bonds offer a similar payment structure as gilts. However, they are bonds bought in companies as opposed to the government. They carry a slightly heavier risk and will offer a greater return than gilts.
Equity. Finally, we opted to allocate the rest of our assets into shares, focusing on industries that have been proven to offer high returns. We suggest investing in companies both based in the UK and abroad, particularly in developing countries whose economies have recovered from the worst of the global recession and are beginning to show signs of huge growth in the coming years, countries such as China, India and Brazil.
Sensitivity analysis. As assumptions are used, it is hard to predict the future. Therefore, the assumptions may not be correct. It is important to understand what a change in our assumptions will do to these liabilities. Active and deferred members' liabilities are quite sensitive to the interest rate. In order to analyse this, we have changed the interest rate by +1% and -1%. These results are shown in the table below. In this section, we are looking at interest rates, salary growth, inflation, and life expectancy.
Interest rate. We see from the table even a 1% change in the interest rate has a dramatic effect on the level liabilities. A fall in interest rates increases the gap between our asset and liabilities by 13,873,101, whereas an increase in interest leads to a decrease in the deficit by 9,735,264. Pensioners are protected from any changes to the structure of their existing pension. Therefore, a change in interest rates will not change our pensioners' liabilities.
Salary growth. This is an assumption which will only affect active members of the pension scheme. To effectively evaluate the effect that this will have on the policy's liabilities, we increase and decrease the salary growth rate by 1% to see the effect it would have. This is shown in the table.
Inflation rate. The table shows that the inflation rate will affect the liabilities, but it will only affect the active and deferred members. In order to show the differences, we have increased the inflation rate by 1% either way.
Increases in life expectancy. Statistics show that over time, the average life of the population increases. We have also checked the effect that a pensioner living 1 year longer would have on the liabilities of our policy. There is an increase of 3.56% and 7.45% for +1 and +2 additional years. respectively.
Cost savings. Under the current assumptions, the XYZ pension scheme runs as an operating deficit. We have decided to target a number of areas in order to eventually improve the deficit, hopefully improve the funding level of the scheme. First change we made to the scheme was using CPI to value the scheme increases instead of RPI. This led to cost saving of 5,296,923, with the biggest decrease in actives of 3,612,850.
Another cost savings method chosen by us was to reset the accrual rate from a 60th to an 80th. Although accrual rate only applies to actives, by increasing it by a quarter, we found a huge fall in our level active liabilities of exactly 25%.
The next change we made was a movement to a career average revalue scheme. Moving to a career average revalue scheme didn't have an effect on the current active liabilities. However, although it did reduce the future service value from 119,711,946 to 118,258,598.
Next, we looked about introducing 0% increases in all future pensions accrual. Introducing 0% increases in all future pensions accrual had the most effect in reducing the deficit. As you can see from the table, the liabilities in each group are dramatically decreased, leaving our pension scheme's funding deficit at only £634,529.
The final area we targeted was an increase in the retirement age. The table below is a look at the effect an increase on the MRA increasing to 70. As shown in the table, this would greatly decrease the liabilities by almost 28%.
In conclusion, we found the value of the scheme's assets were £75 million, invested wholly in equities. This meant the scheme had a funding deficit of £23,028,453. The scheme's funding level was 76.6%, which would require annual payments by the employer of around £2,050,000 at an interest rate of 5.5%. We then outlined areas where we could improve. Firstly, we addressed the firm's assets. We suggested new allocation of assets as 100% invested only in equities was an unwise investment strategy. We then went on to analyse the firm's liabilities, running the sensitivity of some of our assumptions, e.g. interest rates, level of inflation, salary growth. We found that a 1% change in the assumptions had a major effect on the liabilities of the scheme. Finally, we looked at ways we could eliminate deficit via cost-saving methods. We looked at changing the accrual rate, valuing the scheme increases with CPI instead of RPA, increasing retirement age, moving to a career average revalue scheme, and introducing 0% increases in all future pensions accrual.